I am the living bread that came down from heaven. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to watch much of the Olympics, but for this last several weeks, I've really enjoyed watching the Olympics, especially when I was away on vacation. I had so much time. I was watching it quite a bit, and I saw sports I didn't even know were sports. I had to learn the whole sport. It was fun, learning some of these games that I really didn't know that it was an Olympic sport at all. The breakdancing. That's actually a sport. I mean, they do it. I was like, okay, all right, and they're pretty amazing actually in what they do. But I don't know. It's not. It certainly is helpful that we've got so many medals as a USA, but I don't think that's what has sort of stood out for me. For more, it's not so much the medals as the moments. There's been so many special moments throughout all of these, and there were some of them are smaller moments and some of them are bigger moments. But I don't know whether it's something like the medals have gone to so many different nations who've never ever won medals before. Ireland among them, by the way. Ireland got 4 gold medals and 3 bronze. But no, it's just wonderful to see it being, or Botswana getting the 200 meter. Wow, they were just so brilliant, and first medals they've ever had. They're a relatively new nation, and how could we forget the little Filipino Carlos Yoli getting several of the gymnastic golds. I think he's now a national hero. He's been given all sorts of. Now he's a millionaire because of it too. But no, and of course, how could we not be not just impressed, but enlivened and enriched by Simone Biles' smile? Like whether she wins or loses, she's just smiling, beaming with pride of being able to do what she does. It's just been, and I don't know whether it's because the Peacock has done a good job. You can watch whatever sport you want, you can pick whatever you want, and you get highlights. It's just been wonderful. It's the goodness of the best of humanity on display. It's what we ought to see. It's such a wonderful counterpoint to so much we listen to in the news. It's such a relief for the human spirit, because all we ever seem to see in the other news is all bad news. Now, of course, that's what sells, right? And that's what's more addictive, is the negative is always more addictive. But it's such a relief to watch this, the best of humanity. And it's such a relief and joy to watch. I can't help but think of that phrase from St. Irenaeus: the glory of God is man fully alive. Is humanity fully alive? I mean, think of it, here's these sport contestants all over the world who've worked for years to get to this point. How could you not look at that and see humanity fully alive, the goodness of God? And even when they lose and not win, they congratulate one another. It's just the goodness of God out there. It's something that we need to remind ourselves is there. Not just on the Olympics, but the goodness of humanity is on display all around us if we but take the time to look and to see. It's like that responsorial psalm says, to taste and see the goodness of God. Sometimes we need to pause and take in what God has given us. Of course, that's why we come to the Eucharist, is to remind us to taste and see here. But it's not enough to just taste and see here. We're called to taste and see out there. Jesus comes to give us the bread of life here, so that we can become the bread of life out there. I mean, that's the circle of life. That's the virtuous circle. That's the goodness of humanity alive. You see, at the time that Jesus was saying this, though his hearers, the religious leaders and the Pharisees and the scribes, took offense at him because they knew who he was. This is where this old phrase, familiarity breeds contempt. What good could come from somebody in the family with whom we knew? And they refuse to see. Ironically, they aren't upset that he claims to be the bread of life and he gives his flesh for the world. They're upset that he says he came from heaven. He said, well, how can you come from heaven? We know where you're from. We know your mother and your father. You're just one of us. You can't be anything special because you're one of us. That's why I love the Olympics. It says, yeah, they're one of us, but they're special. They are one of us, but they are something that they have done that has gone before. But in so many ways, all of us have that specialness. All of us have that potentiality for specialness. But we have to allow that into our hearts, and then we have to be willing to share it with others. And that's the reason we come to the table. We come to the table to receive the bread of life. But again, as I said earlier, we're called to become that bread of life to others. So what does that, I mean, that's all great and it's wonderful, but what does that mean for our daily life? What does that mean for us this week, here and now? What are we called to do? Well, I think we're called to celebrate the gift and the goodness around us. In our own families, the gift of love in our immediate family, the gift of your love of your spouse, of your children, of your parents, the gift of extended family who love us, of friends who love us. And it must be, we must be willing to not just see it, but celebrate it. And to see the goodness of humanity right around us. And not to get so familiar with those goodness around us that we no longer see it. That's the danger. We dull our senses into the ordinariness of what is around us. And we're called to celebrate that ordinariness. And that's what we come to do here today, is to receive it, celebrate it, and then we are called to become it, to become what we receive, this bread of life for others. So what would that look like? Let me give you a couple of quick examples, and then you kind of have to noodle it for yourselves and figure out how to do it in your life. So one of it is, as I said, recognize the goodness in those around us, number one. But also the opportunity for people to become their better selves, giving them the room to be their best selves. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. Let's imagine there was somebody who in your life that has hurt you, legitimately offended you and hurt you, and it's not in your perception, it's real. They said or did something that was offensive and you remember it. Now, you fast forward to where you are today. Maybe that's 5 years, maybe that's 3 years, maybe that's 6 months, maybe it's 20 years. Let's assume that they've gone through some metanoia experience, that they have changed. They are somebody different. That they have, in a sense, they've gone through a change. Are we willing to accept that and welcome them back into our lives in some way? The chances are that most of us will say, not a chance. No way, I'm not giving you opportunity to hurt me again, number one. Number two is, I don't care if you changed. The consequence for your behavior is you're dead to me. And there are people who bring that all the way to their grave. The problem is it's not part of the gospel. That's not the witness of the gospel. The witness of the gospel is to allow people the opportunity of conversion. And so here's the part, the reason why that's so important, because that person might be us. We're the ones who've gone through conversion. I hope. If we're coming here week after week, I hope we're having small conversions every week where, in fact, we are different. And we hope that others will give us the chance to say that we are different. Now, we expect that of others when we have become different from our child. Because I can think of a lot of people that I've said or done things to in my early years that I wish I had not. It wasn't that I intended to hurt them, but I did hurt them because I said or did things in my youth that were probably unwise or selfish or unkind. But I'd like to think that I am different today. And will any of those people give me the chance to see me as different? I don't know. All I know I can do is be different and give other people the chance to be different. So we have no control of other people's actions. All we have is control over is our own. Now, I'm just giving you that one example of which we can make a difference by becoming the bread of life for others. But let us treasure this moment that we have today. Let's not wait for another year because we don't know if we'll have another year. Let's do it now. Let's seize this moment, and when we come forward to receive the bread of life, we say, amen, yes, I promise to become the bread of life for us. I promise to see and taste the goodness of God all around me. And I promise then to give others the opportunity to taste and to see that goodness around me. Today, we want to celebrate. Celebrate the God who has come among us to say, I am the bread of life, have come down from heaven. Let us become that bread of life for others to taste and see.